Valve has announced a new Steam machine. Many are calling it an Xbox and PlayStation killer. But is that true? Hi, welcome to ZGadgetReview. Back in 2015, Valve decided to release technically a mini gaming PC for the living room. They called it the Steam Machine. Except Valve did not make those machines. Those machines were made by third parties. The project seemed to completely disappear years later. Then they came out with the Steam Deck, which became a huge hit. Steam Deck is that handheld gaming mini PC that you can play games on the go. Technically, you can say that Valve was the catalyst for all the other handhelds that came after it. Yes, there was a bubble ready to burst, ready to go. I know usually a bubble bursting is a bad thing, but in this case, it's a good thing because things have been boiling up slowly but surely in the handheld market. A lot of people were asking for it. A lot of people seem ready for it. The technology seemed to be ready for it. But Valve seemed to have proven and shown that if you do it right, you can make money and be successful at it. So all these other companies follow suit and release their own handhelds. Now with some wind in their sails, Valve has decided to release the Steam Machine again. This time it's being made by them. No more third-party makers. This is all them, all controlled by them. Now, what is the Steam Machine? If you're living under a rock or you don't follow tech, you probably wouldn't know what this is. But technically, it's a small form factor PC in a small cube form. This is Valve's attempt at going into your living room and offering you gaming, let's say PC gaming, in your living room without having the need to have a PC or a laptop attached to your TV or anything like that. This is going to run SteamOS, which is Steam's proprietary operating system, which is supposed to skin the gaming process on PC that can be kind of tedious depending on how much you like to tinker with your games and make it easier for the average user. Now let's talk specs. The form factor is very small. It's a 6-inch cube. It comes with a faceplate that can be taken off. It is customizable, so Valve is most likely going to be selling different faceplates that you can buy to customize your own Steam machine. I'm sure it's going to be an aftermarket for that as well. It has an LED light bar on the front that supposedly can be customized with different colors and also can be used, for example, to show you how far along downloading a game is. The specs put the Steam Machine around the mid-range gaming PC territory. The Steam Machine is going to have a semi-custom AMD Zen 4 CPU, which is comparable to a Ryzen 5 7600 series. It's going to have RDNA 3 GPU with 28 compute units, which matches AMD's mobile RX 7600M. It's gonna come with 16 gigs of DDR5 RAM and 8 gigs of GDDR6 VRAM. Storage is going to have two different models. It's going to have the entry level at 512 gigs, which is going to be useless, or a 2 terabyte NVMe SSD. You're going to have micro SD card slot for expandable storage. I've seen in some reports that you'll be able to expand the storage yourself. I think you can do it on the Steam Deck, so I wouldn't see why you couldn't do that on the Steam Machine. But the Steam Machine is by all purposes not upgradable RAM and all those things. Technically, the machine you're going to get is the machine you're going to have, and you won't be able to swap things around like you can do on a PC. Now for display ports, we're going to have a DisplayPort 1.4, which is going to support up to 4K at 120/40 Hz or 8K at 60 Hz. It's going to support HDR, FreeSync, and daisy chaining. It's going to have an HDMI port, which is going to be a HDMI 2.0. I don't know why they didn't go with 2.1. 2.0 is going to give you up to 4K at 120 Hz. It's going to support HDR, FreeSync, and CEC. Connectivity-wise, we're going to have a built-in Stream Controller wireless adapter for direct pairing with the Stream Controller that they have announced. We're going to have Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.0, is going to support gigabit Ethernet. It's going to have one USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 and 4 USB-A ports. It is very exciting to see that the Steam Machine is back and in existence. I think the more choices that we have as gamers, the better it is. The better it is not only for us, but the better it is for the companies in order to sell you more skins or digital trash. No, but it should be good for us because it gives you more options, you know, then you don't have to be stuck with Xbox or PlayStation. Now you have something that if you wanted to get into PC gaming, you can do technically in a very easy way. Now, let's talk pricing because there's no pricing. Let's talk release date. There's no release date. So this is going to release in 2026. Now, price-wise, we don't know the price, but there's been tons of speculation about how much this thing could cost. Now, let's think about how much pricing is right now because of the tariffs and everything else. Everything is super expensive. But right now, for example, you can get an Xbox Series X, 1 terabyte, the classic one, for $650. The Series X Digital Edition is $600. And the most expensive, the 2 terabyte version of the Xbox Series X is $800. Okay, so that gives you an idea. Now, the PS5 side, you have the digital version of the console, and I'm going with the digital version because technically this is going to be digital. It doesn't have a disk drive. So on the digital side, we have 825 gigs storage for $500. And if you go with the PS5 Pro, which is the 2 terabyte version of the PlayStation and the newest, more powerful PlayStation, you can get that for $750. So that gives you an idea between what PS5 is charging and what Xbox is charging. Now on the Steam Deck side, to get an idea of how Valve prices their items, we have the Steam Deck, is the LCD 256 gigs for $400. Then we have the mid tier, which is a 512 gigs, $549 for the OLED version. And then we have the 1 terabyte version of the Steam Deck for $649 OLED version as well. So with that in mind, I'm going to say that most likely the Steam machine, the 512, the cheapest version of the Steam machine, is probably going to come between $650 to $700. I think that would be a good price to counter what Xbox and PlayStation is offering. At the same time, I think that it will create a market where if you want to play PC games, that this will give you an entrance at a cheaper price than if you were to buy a laptop or a PC. So it becomes a good option. Now, for the 2 terabyte version, that is where things get high. I can see them charging anywhere between $800 to $900 for a Steam machine with a 2 terabyte version because storage is expensive. Even then, they will still come in cheaper than the average laptop or PC. But it also depends on how Valve sees PlayStation and Xbox as competition. If they don't see them as competition at all, then I think they can price it a little higher. If they see them as competition and a way to get into the market and pull people away from them, then coming at a price that's about what their consoles cost with the excuse that, hey, we're a PC and you don't have to pay any money in order to play online games and all that because all of that is free on the Steam machine. You could excuse the extra price for the Steam machine versus a console that way, having the idea that you have a PC gaming at a cheaper price. So that's how I see them doing that. Now, the exciting thing to me also, and why I know a lot of people are excited, is because of Linux. Linux is the base for SteamOS. And so the fact that Valve has been able to get away from Microsoft and Windows and being able to use Linux in order to run games that people have been trying to do for years, the fact that Valve has been able to do that, I know it's a huge thing. But then to call it an Xbox and PlayStation killer is going a little far. And the reason is because we know that the current Xbox and current PlayStation are on their way out, right? We know that Xbox and PlayStation are working on their next-gen consoles, which most likely will be announced next year and come out in 2027. I'm thinking that Xbox is going to announce next year and come out next year, and I think that Sony will announce next year and come out the year after, so 2027. I think that's how that's going to play out. And the reason why is because Xbox needs to come out and show something, I think, versus PlayStation. I think PlayStation is very comfortable right now where they are and the way they're doing things. They're a little bit like Nintendo right now, in my opinion, the way PlayStation is running the game, where like Nintendo doesn't care about what PlayStation and Xbox does. They're like in their own little world, in their own thing, and it's been working great for them. And I think PlayStation is going into that slot as well. Keeping that in mind, that means that the next PlayStation and next Xbox are going to be more powerful than the Steam machine, no matter which way you see it, because they have to do that. They have to be able to be powerful enough, because the whole game of these consoles is that you buy one and you keep it for, 7 years, 8 years, maybe 10. So you're kind of working with current hardware that can be stretched into the future for years. And I know the games are made optimized and blah, 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 blah. I know that. Now that we have the Steam machine, I can see that this is technically what Xbox is going to be doing, which is what Xbox has been talking about over and over and over again, that this is technically what we're going to get from Xbox. We're going to get an Xbox Steam machine. Of course, it's going to be an Xbox Windows based, where you can not only play Xbox games, but you can also play Steam games, PC games, and most likely PlayStation games, and technically any game market that can get plugged into Windows, which to me gives it a leg up over the Steam machine. Because again, the Steam machine is Linux based, and because it's Linux based, it isn't necessarily going to be able to run all the Windows games. So while the Steam machine is a great machine and it's a great entry to PC gaming without all the issues that PC gaming gives you, it also isn't as great as a lot of people say. I feel like there's been all this excitement by all these influencers like, oh my God, the Steam machine is here. Oh my God, it's the second coming. Yes, but no. Let's start with the specs. The specs are not great. I mean, the specs are good, but they're not great, okay? There's going to be a lot of games that you're not going to be able to run on this thing with like ultra settings and high settings. You most likely are going to end up playing between 1080p and 1440p, which I know a lot of people do and a lot of people are okay with, but I just don't like this mentality that, well, I'm okay with it because it runs, the way it runs. Another issue for me is going to be the 8 gigs of VRAM. I think that's low. I know that the new rule is technically becoming that you should have 16 gigs of VRAM in order for your games to run smoothly and without issues and without a lot of tweaking. So I think the 8 gigs of VRAM is going to be a little low. And I know why Steam has decided to go with these specs, because of all the data they collect from Steam. They're able to know what the specs of the systems that people use to play games are in order to kind of influence the design of this machine. But the reason is because people can't afford a gaming PC that's powerful enough to run the games the way most people will want to run them. So a lot of people play, and as I said earlier, they're okay with it because that's what you can afford and that's what you can get. But at the same time, the reason why there is a console market that exists that is so robust is because of that reason, because you can usually get a console that's going to give you better performance than a PC for less money, and that's why consoles have been so popular for so many years. I feel that in that way Valve has said, well, this is what people used to play, this is how they play their games, so we're going to give them the same experience in this machine, instead of saying how can we maximize the experience for the player and give them a machine that's going to give them a better experience than what they're getting now. And I feel that 8 gigs of VRAM tells you that story right there. Not only that, but games are going to be optimized for those machines. So games are going to be optimized for Xbox, games are going to be optimized for PlayStation. They're not necessarily going to be optimized for the Steam machine because it's a new product. And if you're a developer who, as they keep saying, it's running thin on resources, which is why they have to raise the prices of their games and fire people and use AI and all these things, then you cannot grab a team and move it to dedicate themselves to the Steam machine because it's a new product. And so you have to have an idea of what the install base is for that, and if that install base makes sense to put your resources towards, or do you just continue supporting the Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation, and then you do your regular PC port. So why would I put resources to optimize a game for the Steam machine? And that's going to take time. That's not going to happen like that just because people are like, oh my God, I'm so excited about Valve and the Steam machine. Remember what happened to Nintendo after the Wii U failed? And third-party companies pretty much stopped making games for Nintendo for a while until the Switch became this humongous monster that of course made the gaming industry say, okay, there's a market here, let's port our games to this thing. But it took a while for that to happen. It wasn't quick, even though Nintendo was selling the Switches so much that you couldn't find one anywhere. And then we have Apple. Apple is a huge company with a huge install base that's been trying to push into gaming, with the latest silicon that they have. It's like every single presentation that they've been doing lately, they've been talking about gaming, which they didn't do before. But you still don't see a huge surge of support for Apple from the gaming industry. The gaming industry is still focused on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo because, again, resources. And so that's, to me, the other issue that the Steam machine is going to run into is how much support is it going to get from the gaming industry? And then my other question is, what happens when huge games don't come to PC? Like GTA 6, for example. GTA 6 isn't coming to PC right away. It's just going to consoles. So what happens with people who invested on a Steam machine thinking that, hey, this game is going to be playable on this thing, and then it isn't? I'm I'm very excited for the Steam machine. If it's cheap enough, I would like to get a Steam machine. Like, I've been playing PC games on my laptop for a while now, and sometimes honestly I don't play them because they're on my laptop and I'm like, I don't really feel like playing on my laptop right now, right? I want to play on my 65-inch 4K TV. I get the appeal and I am excited, but I think that calling it the killer of consoles is... no, that doesn't make sense. Sorry. What do you think about the Steam machine? Is this something you are planning on getting? Do you have an idea of how much it'll cost? Do you want to tell me how I don't know what I'm talking about and blah, 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 blah? Some of you love to tell me. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section. That is it for me. Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time you have videos. Every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.